Hi everybody online there. Now we are in a classroom setting in LA, actually Pasadena Convention Center at the Learning and Products Expo Art. I have a class of 12 students. Most of them are beginners, so bear with me. Some basic knowledge you probably have learned before. You consider this as a review, okay? First of all, let's talk about the brush and ink. Brush and ink is basically the term representing all the techniques involved in Chinese painting, besides water, I think. So we need to get some ink. I have about 200 or more. It's growing every day. Not every day. Yesterday I got 10 more from another student. Another instructor here with his brand name. Bill Beckman, since I mentioned it. So I'm really fond of different brushes. They do different things. But they do only half. The other half is the hand, right? So we have small and large brush. These four I considered as the basics. So I have these available today for beginners. The largest one is the goat hair super wash brush. It's used for washing, and the smaller goat hair is also for washing, for like a small flower petals. This wolf hair brush in the middle is made of actually weasel hair. Same with this small weasel brush. So this wolf hair, because weasel in Chinese is 黄鼠狼, yellow rat weasel. We call it 黄鼠. So brief as a weasel, wolf hair brush. They are used for lining and some called bone strokes with outlines and details. Today we're going to show you, let me see, I'll use this one for the wash maybe. You can use the smaller one if you wish. I'll do in a larger scale so you can see more clearly. Your paper will be half, okay? So you soak the brush first. Whenever you use it, if it's new, you need to get the glue out. You just did that, right? And before we load the ink, you need to get the water out. So the brush is thirsty. Like the thirsty brush depends on how you need for the painting. You can leave some water in the brush or completely thirsty. Depends on what you want. So I'm going to do a fruit. So I need some water in the brush. I always use my hand to feel it, so I know it's dry in the front, so I can load with ink. Okay. It's dark ink, and then you need to dilute it. I try to keep that water clean. So I use 2 cups. Actually, someone already recommended that. It's a good idea. So you can use one for ink and one for color, for other purpose. So I dilute the ink to get the gray to about half to 2/3 maybe the brush. Then I touch a little more to make a deeper gray, and maybe add a little water. But this time I don't need the palette. So the brush has a gradation. Some teacher might want to load completely, but my approach is to load only half with color or ink. It's considered as a multiple load. So you start from the focus, the center. Where it starts is very important. The viewer always know that because it's the darkest part. In this kind of simple minimum approach, one stroke painting. A fruit, always round, right? So I need to think about the gesture. How do I move in the mind? I can go a circle or from center out, either way. I need to go center out. I imagine when I do this, the gradation would be, so I can control, should I do this way or this way? This is paperweight. The paper may have wrinkles in it. That's divine inspiration. I will show you later. I even crinkle it, so it doesn't matter. I will show you how to mount it in the end of this workshop. But paperweight is necessary to hold the paper flat. So avoid the center. Do it in a golden spot. So it has all the shading or everything in it, right? Then I can retouch a little bit the leftover. So ink is considered gold, not in terms of value, but aesthetically, you don't want to abuse, you want to conserve it. A little bit. This one is a little lighter. Let me change the okay. At this point, it could be any fruit. Doesn't matter. It could be tomatoes, apples, or I think I need to kind of keep the continuity. So sometimes we have to make it look like one stroke. So I want to make this next one lighter than this, or similar to this, but not much. So the brush never leave the paper. You need to feel, this is kind of fragile. If you poke it too hard, just try to avoid tearing it. And now the rest is different style. I just used the thirsty brush to finish up. Have you ever seen this kind of picture before in art books? This is a very famous masterpiece I'm trying to mimic. No? Anybody recognize this mochi monkey behind me on the scroll? Mochi, or M-U-C-H-I or M-U-Q-I. Mochi is a monk lived in 12th century China. All his painting was brought to Japan in the end of Southern Song Dynasty. So he's very famous in Japan than in China. But now Chinese also know that regarded him as one of the best artists. But in Japan, his painting, totally only 5 survived. One is the monkey mother and the son, and the other is this called the Six Persimmons. 6 Persimmons. You can search the keyword 6 Persimmons, you'll find it. And this is actually the first sumi painting in Japan, and they regard it as the best of the best, national treasure.
When was it done?
12th century. There's no Japanese painter lived in that time. You can, by name maybe. So he is maybe the earliest. But there are painters in Tang Dynasty, but different style. This style is minimalism, is the Zen style. That kind of, it has just what we call the Muchi school in Japan, and in China it's called the Southern China school. Southern school is a Zen minimalist approach. Okay. I didn't have much sleep last night, but I tried to keep the spirit high. Okay, persimmons. The what do you call this? Calyx, the stem.
The stem.
Stem. Yeah. Mimicking masterpiece is the basic way to learn this tradition. The Chinese art is like other Chinese art cultural traditions. Is in the linear development. It's addition of artists' contributions. There's no breakups, interruptions like revolutionary changes. So the basic principles and ideas or philosophy is the same for 1.5 millennium. So let me attribute this to Mushi. That's his name.
That's a work of art in itself.
Yes. Yeah, it's part of the painting, the calligraphy. The title is saying Mushi's Six Persimmons painting. Maybe I should put mimic, implied. Yeah. This is my artist pen name or artist style name. It's I won't explain it too much to translate. So just my signature.
You assign it before you do it?
Pardon me?
You sign the painting before you do the painting?
I did after the painting, right? But I haven't finished this last touch. What's your question again?
You sign the painting before you paint it or after?
After.
After.
Okay. Why you have that question?
Because you're signing it now in the beginning. I just wondered if that was...
Oh, this is the beginning of the painting?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that I see. I thought it's the time of the beginning. Okay, that's a good question. So where you sign your picture, there's no beginning. Beginning is here.
Okay.
In Zen Buddhism, this represents 6 phases of enlightenment, from dark to emptiness. Okay, this is the end. Compositionally speaking, this can be part of the picture to balance it. Probably I have destroyed it. I think he didn't have this. But I just tried to, there's no particular rule, but so far you can balance the picture. Sometimes you need it in very obvious place. Sometimes you hide it.
You can see that in the one behind you. It's balanced by
Yes. Yeah, that's a good example. I think, and also you can use seal. That's what I'm using to balance it. You can have name seals. Usually go with the signature. I have a system to grade. I can use that later in the class. This part considered as dessert after the dinner, 5%. Composition is 50%. And stroke, quality of line, brushwork considered as 35%. And ink tones, 10%. So 10%, 5%, 35%, and composition 50%. Then you get 100, okay? So if you don't have the signature or seal placed correctly, you will lose the 5%. Yeah. If your composition is no good, like say everything is scattered, no contrast between dense and sparse, and balance. This it will hurt the most. Yeah. So let me hold this up to you in the right orientation. How do you think about this?
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
So this is your first assignment. Try to do it in 2 minutes. You can come to my
2 minutes.
Is that a problem? Yeah, you have to limit
You did
yourself.
more than 2 minutes.
Huh?
You
Huh?
have done it more than 2 minutes.
Really? Should I try it again?
No, you explained it though.
Yeah, I explained it. I think it should be done less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
If you do more, you lose the attention. You got to start. Yeah, you need to be concentrated when you do it, and try to be not hesitate, not depicting, just like writing. You see, these are like writing characters. Just you don't think, just write like you write a character. So. But I did pay attention on the variation of size, and the ink gradation should come out naturally because the bigness of this I reloaded many times. I think he did it in one stroke.
All of them?
Yeah, you could do that if you load it correctly. But you're not experienced, you can make it up to look like from dark to light to nothing. You can use this table with this brush or other brush. Maybe we use a smaller paper. So you can also use the paper you got at your desk. Just outline it. Perfect. Yeah. With the opening end would be fine. Also, you can, yeah. Okay, I don't want to.
You got the shading because the brush was loaded with a little ink on the tip.
Exactly. Yeah, now we use the same brush. We can change the brush into a smaller one. This is called small whistle brush. It's a stiff. We also call it the leaf vein brush. We do this the leaf. This considers like a leaf vein. And use pure ink. Just write the. I would say just like a abstract, something like letters. You see in calligraphy stroke. So hold the brushes straight.
Oh. Okay.
So this one, goes straight and do it slowly. Fully control. Avoid the sharp tip that distracted the eye, the viewer.
Avoid the sharp tip.
Yeah, I try to hide it. Yeah. Try to do the opposite way. This is more like tomatoes.
What do you mean?
Yeah, from outside in. That's okay. That's okay now.
Do one for me.
Okay. I will. Let me see. It's upside down. But you stop at the beginning, stop and end. So it's a dot. You can go the opposite direction, and then rub the end, the tip, hide the tip. We call it a tip concealed stroke, a tip centered stroke. The tip of the brush in the center of the stroke, not exposed. You can, if the tip exposed, it's more like. But you did is good with the brush. This we call this animatory. It's like too easy, like print with the brush heel. We try to avoid that, but you can have a few that, and then you show your skill, your power, you know. Yeah, you can finish this.
No, don't dip it in.
You can touch the reds just a little bit. Just do
Start from the outside.
Just do an X with the edge on top, or something like that, or L, small L or something. Yeah, try to not end in the same place. Then you end up too much spreading because you always end at the same point, right? Then, yeah, that's okay. Okay. Yeah, just be abstract. You don't have to depict anything. This part is kind of difficult. Should we point outside picture, just like escaping?
Escaping.
Like we can do this. Bring him back. Maybe.
Change the energy.
I don't know if I have to fix that. And then you can use signature on this side to balance that. You can sign your name or initial on this part.
Beautiful
Very
shape.
pretty. So this, I need to go slower.
No, it's good. Perfect.
Oh, yeah?
We like what we call the flying white because by the speed of the stroke of the split bristles or hair, that's showing the energy, the movement. That's the time, movement. So flying white is the Chinese term. Literal translation is this little white space in the stroke, in the middle of the stroke.
Flying white. I like
Yeah.
that.
Feedback.